Start, sir?
Yeah, we can start now.
Yeah, just give me a moment. Okay, sir. So we'll start.
Yeah.
Okay. So good evening, all, and welcome you once again to this HRFI Virtual Connect, which we were conducting throughout this pandemic since from it hit us. Before we take it forward, a little introduction about HRFI. HR Federation of India is managed by Managing Committee and operated from Mumbai. HRFI is a professional group established on a voluntary and equality basis organizations and individuals from all sectors. The key purpose of HRFI is to drive different kinds of knowledge skills across industry which is present and enrich all this HR people into one platform and create a kind of an environment for promising practices wherein we get to learn from each other, and that's how we help each other to develop in this HR fraternity. That's the key motto of it. Currently, we have 15,000 plus HR professionals who are part of this HRFI platform in WhatsApp. Apart from that, we have around 13,000 plus members into our LinkedIn group. Apart from LinkedIn and WhatsApp, we are also very much present in Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And please follow us there because we keep on posting different kinds of informations with regard to our fraternity there. This is the third, and we good part of is that there were so many things which earlier we thought is impossible to do. Now this pandemic has basically it helped us to learn that it is very much possible to keep the learning on through virtual connects, and that's what we were doing. And we are very thankful to the entire HR groups which is already attached with us, that we have got almost 19,000 plus audiences who actually helped us into this entire journey of 6-7 months, been with us, participated in all possible way, be it as an industry leader who incorporated different kinds of knowledge into this group, or be it as a participant who actively asked questions, inquired about different kinds of myths, queries, challenges, and helped the entire group to learn together. So that's what exactly HRFI is all about. Today is no exception. We have two extremely talented female colleagues and leaders with us who actually established the fact that women can balance, am I privileged to use the word better, between work and the social life that we are having. So thank you once again, Shipra and Shefali, for being with us today. And it's an extremely honor to have you, and I personally, along with our entire HRFI team, is looking forward to hear from your experiences. But before we go there, I would like to introduce and talk a little about our wonderful speakers today. So I'll start with Shipra, and about her. Well, Shipra Narayan, after completing her master's in human resource, she worked with various corporate like GE, Wipro Technologies, ICICI Bank. She been into leadership positions and handled teams. She been into training and been consulting at Time Managers International, a Danish company, managed the leadership vertical. Her forte being the emotional intelligence, which is one of the most top topic in today's date, and change management. She took a sabbatical post this for her family and kids, and much later returned to a career for passion Now, this is something which is very interesting, that she returned with something which is journalism, a complete different genre than what she was into. And she's been a success story herself. She's writing her own book, which is yet to just about to launch. And she is someone who is actually establishing a fact very strongly, that woman who goes in sabbatical can come back with the actually bang. So we would hear more about her from her itself. But before that, she also awarded the Professional Changemaker of the Year by Women Innovator, part of global initiative supported by MSME UN Women. That's about Shipra. Moving to Shefali, our another wonderful speaker. She is a career transition life coach and a wellness enthusiast. She is a founder of Sakam. Shefali would look forward to know what is exactly the meaning for that. And she is a specialist on career transition and well-being. In her prior roles, she has rich experience in corporate HR, having worked in companies like GE and Citibank outside India. Later, she became an entrepreneur in California and then returned to India to manage her career advisory and talent acquisition for her clients. So that's about our lovely lady speaker today. I will hand over the platform to them, and over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. Shefali, I'll let you start the whole thing.
Thank you so much, Ankita, Rao Sahib, Shipra. Thank you to everyone. I would like to start with saying that it's a very humbling experience that such a senior group of HR leaders have given us an opportunity to express and present the case of career transition. My name is Shefali Sinha. I'm a career transition and life coach. Having spent many years helping hire professionals and addressing their career queries and dilemmas, I feel that the topic of career transition, especially mid-career transition, is all the more relevant and pervasive today. The idea of today's discussion is to emphasize that the power of determination to pursue a career, something which is non-linear, which is non-traditional, and it encourages self-renewal at any stage in our life, and to thrive in such a career of choice even after taking a sabbatical. Such is the case story of Shipra, and I am really honored today to present this aspect of her journey with all of you. Shipra shared her beautiful story of career transition from a very successful and aspiring L&D and HR professional to a writer, and then a journalist, and then now she's a senior editor and anchor for News Mobile. Her journey of transition is not only inspiring to scores of women, it is a rare and precious mix of persistent mindset, superb execution, and an unrelenting confidence in one's abilities. I would now like to ask Shipra some questions about her career transition process. So over to you, Shipra. And the idea behind these questions is just to give you a glimpse of what are the ways in which we have to analyze the transition process which we embark upon.
Thank you so much, Shefali. That was, I use the same word that you used, very, very humbling. And I'm very happy to be here. It's a privilege to be in the midst of HR fraternity, you know, an area and an industry that I started off with after my education, an area that I thought I would always be there. Never would have imagined that I would be in an HR fraternity, in the midst of HR fraternity, and talking about career transition. But well, that's how it is, and it's my privilege to be here. Now, you know, when I was thinking about it, the entire thing and about the entire journey that I have personally also gone through of being in a career, a hardcore career, you know, the rush that comes with following something that you've studied, something that you're very passionate about, and then taking a break again for choices that you've made yourself, and then again at a point trying to return to something that is a new ground altogether, not something that is your comfort zone. It's been an interesting journey, and I thought, how is it going to interest people here who are in HR, especially all of you, most everybody here are HR leaders in their own perspectives. And I thought that, yes, it becomes even more essential at this point of time, because luckily we're at a time when a lot of women specifically are returning from their sabbaticals, are thinking of restarting their careers, are rethinking of coming back to that same action, the same rigor, the same position that they had left for personal reasons. And I think it's the perfect time for the HR fraternity to see how they can make this entire return, this entire re-entry into the space even more cordial, even more welcoming for such people. And in fact, at some point of time, Shefali, I would also want to discuss that it's not just about women here, and I don't want to make it that way. It is about a lot of people, including men. I have enough examples of men who have also gone through career transitions, who have left thriving careers to go and follow their heart, to go and follow their passion, something that they've dearly felt for. But really, to put my entire experience together, and if I look back, what is it that really worked for me? I was in the HR fraternity with different organizations, a career that was going just the path I wanted. I was very interested in consulting and training. I did move into it from corporate HR. Everything was going gung-ho. Everything was perfectly on the path that I thought of. And then, of course, a time comes in most cases, in most women's lives, when there is family, there are other things that come into the limelight, and you have to make a choice at that point of time. Again, it's both ways.
Yeah.
You have a choice where you can continue with what you had planned, what you're already doing. And then there is a choice where you decide, no, maybe I want to take a little break. I want to maybe take a little sabbatical, because there could be some other people, some other lives that are coming into my own life that might need my full attention. And that is exactly what happened with me. I decided to take a sabbatical, not because anybody told me for that, but because I wanted to do it. Again, a choice that I completely made. Took a sabbatical for many years, even traveled out of the country with my husband, came back. And that's that point of time when my children, and I had 2 consecutive kids, when they started going to school, when I realized that they are now in school. And there was this moment when I realized that my husband gets up in the morning, gets ready and goes to office. The kids get up in the morning, get ready and go to school. And what about me? And that is when the questioning started coming in. What am I doing? I studied, I got educated, I was at a particular position. There were people that I might have hired from campuses, and they are now at such senior positions. Imagine if I had continued, I would have been there too. So a lot of questioning that one starts doing inside the inner self, that is this going to be the future? Is this always going to be there? Where I'm always waiting for the husband to come home, waiting for the children to come home, waiting for the maid to ask me ki khane mein kya banega, waiting for the electrician to come. What is going to happen finally with my life? And I think a lot of women,
I think that's very well put, Shipra. This is a dilemma that a lot of, working women face. And as you rightly said, today's discussion is about the broader topic of career transition, and which affects everybody, whether it's, it's a man who's deciding to, take a break after 15 years of continuous service, or it's a woman who's deciding to take a sabbatical, to start a family or to nurture her kids. So what I want to go back a little bit about the time, during the time when you were having the best corporate experience of your tenure. And specifically, if you were to look at, what kind of work activities and people and environment motivated you to really look at the career change as a serious decision in your life. So were there some interactions, some environmental factors, some people who really prompted you to identify that this is the career change I want? And what exactly was that career change that you were looking at that point in time?
Right, Shefali. So if I have to broadly say, there have been two major times when I've done absolute career changes. One was when I was working, this was before my sabbatical, and I was in hardcore corporate HR in a banking company, the entire sphere of activities that are associated with it. And that's the point of time I realized that, no, I want to get into something more specific. I enjoy being with people. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy the aspect of getting into hardcore training or consulting. And I think a lot of aspects play a role, anytime that a person wants to make career transitions. One, of course, is the skill set. And I think that's extremely crucial, because over the years, one realizes what you are good at, what are your positives, what are things that you can leverage for yourself. Now, when I came back, for example, after my sabbatical, I did want to have an alternate career. I did have the leeway of going back into consulting, but I thought, no, I want to write, I want to get into journalism. Now, I did not think that I want to become a pilot. Right. So it's not something that you do out of the blue that, okay, now I have this moment when I have to get back into, I have to do a career transition. Why not become a pilot? No, there are certain things that happen in your life that prompt you that maybe this is an alternative line that I can look at. And I think your own skill set, your own experience of so many years where you have tried diverse things,
Absolutely.
and a lot of knowledge gaining, which is very important. Anytime a career transition has to happen, I think it's extremely important to be able to get enough knowledge about it, to procure enough, know-how about it, so that you know what I'm getting into.
Absolutely.
And that is critical, I feel.
So this is, again, these are some of the points which I want to bring in later in the discussion. And it's very valuable that you are building upon the strengths that you have, and you are using the skills that you have learned so far to actually craft the next step in your journey. And this is, mind you, this is a step. This is not the final point. This is one step of the journey which you're going to take to really move into a different career. So my next question to you, Shipra, is that of all the experiences that you had in the erstwhile career, what are some of the best elements of that which you wanted to incorporate into your new aspirations with your career?
So Shefali, it's been quite a shift, from HR to journalism, and in between my book. In fact, the book that I've written is all about how to return post a sabbatical, how to be able to do a career transition. So that's what my book is all centered about, because I realized that I've had experiences, and there are a lot of women, a lot of people nowadays who are in the same boat. And it makes sense to write down my experiences so that people can engage with it. Now, one thing I think which is very critical, and when I also decided post my sabbatical to write a book and then get, and post that got into journalism, I think two things which are very important, and a lot of people here who want to make that movement is, one, of course, very, very important is the fact that you have to have confidence in yourself. The confidence that I can do it. I have decided it. This is my choice. This is my decision that I want to try something, and I'm confident. Why am I confident? Because I realize that I might have the skill set. I have got prior knowledge. I've gained enough know-how about it. So there have to be certain things to do in the, as a precursor. Yes. And then you get into it. And I think one important part is always to have a plan B. If this is what I want to do, what if 1% it does not work out tomorrow? What if my book does not happen? What if I'm a disaster at journalism? Do I have a plan B or not? And I think that's very critical, because when you don't have a plan B, that is where it gets frustrating. Because at some point of time, you've had a career. You've seen that trajectory. And it can be very frustrating that I wanted to do something. I had the passion for it.
Right.
But it didn't work out. So what do I do now? Is that the end of the road? So that I think is critically important, Shefali. And one more thing is the discipline to move forward.
Yes.
When I started writing the book, I did not, even from the first beginning to the end of the book, I have written it outside. I did not write it at home. I took up a place outside. I would go at 9, come back at 5 o'clock. So I think whatever you do, it's not about the book. It could be a career transition where you've been in, let's say you're in a part of HR and you've decided to move into something else. It's the discipline that whatever I'm doing, I have to do it in a proper planned manner, which can really give you a lot of confidence to go full throttle.
Yes. So in fact, Shipra, I'm just going to re-emphasize the point which you have so beautifully put across, that one does not need to think that there is a particular outcome and that's something that we're going for and that's going to bring to fruition all our, desire to, move into a different dimension of work. What is important is to look at 2, 3 multiple scenarios and to really research all of these 2, 3 different aspects of what you can do and what possibly can your skills be utilized for. Because if you don't have 2 or 3 parallel tracks running, you could reach a dead end and then become frustrated at that point that what am I going to do going forward?
Right.
It's really important to build these multiple scenarios and to test the reality of these scenarios by actually getting involved in them. As in Shipra's case, with her writing, with the discipline and with the aspect of what else that she can do, along with this break that she has taken to become an author. So Shipra, this is my next question to you is something that I just want to know from your experience. I want to understand that there is some research which points out that you can develop passion for a particular area or a particular field of work only after you have tried it and you have liked it, and then you invest more and more hours and build your expertise and mastery in it. What is your experience in this?
Absolutely. And Shefali, that is where I meant when I said that you have to have that skill set, and not just have the skill set, be aware that you have that skill set. And that is extremely important. Now, the way all of us in our fraternity, we have a performance management system that we roll out in the organizations that we do for other people, as all of us as HR people here are very familiar with it. It's also a good idea to do it for yourself, to do your own assessment and realize that what is it that are my positives. Now, again, I also want to put it in the perspective that it does not mean that all the time I have to have a career transition. These are choices we make. There could be a time when I'm very happy, I'm very possessed, I'm very, excited about what I'm already doing. Fair enough. Continue with that. But there are times when each one of us in our careers, and there are those junctures that come in life, sometime during our careers, when we just sit and question ourselves, am I really happy doing what I'm doing? Am I really excited about what I'm doing? Am I really excited about a Monday morning when I go to office? And I think that's an extremely important question. Is Monday morning exciting me, or is Friday night exciting me more than what it is? And that is the time when you realize that I need to revisit what I'm doing. Yes, there are a lot of aspects that we keep in mind. There are the financial, there are, a lot of security, everything. But as a person, at the end of it, we're also answerable to ourselves. What is it that I want to do? And I think that's the time when it's important to be able to see what more do I possess beyond what I'm already doing. Is there something that might be a small ignition in my mind, but can I gather enough knowledge and then do it? And I think that forward thinking, that patience, that ability in yourself that I want to do it, and this is the right time to do it. I know it might sound extremely, almost like Bollywood. I'll go and I'll do this. Practically, a lot of people have told me practically it doesn't work. But I seriously feel if you want to do it, everything can work and it can practically work. There are examples where people have been in very senior positions and have taken a break to go and do what they really want to do. And till the time you realize that I want to do it, not because others want me to do it, I want to do it, there can be no stoppages.
So I'm just going to add to this point that you said, because our time is constrained. I don't want to repeat the things that you have discussion. And the very valuable suggestion that I could put about when I was trying to prepare.
Sorry, Shefali, if you could just have the others on mute because your voice is getting lost.
Oh,
Yeah. So,
yes. Please unmute yourself. I muted other participant.
okay. So I've unmuted myself. Is that audible?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I want to say is that just to reiterate Shipra's point of view, because we have limited time, and I don't want to repeat the things which are actually emerging from this discussion with Shipra, which is just the fact that you have to own your outcomes. So if you believe this is something that you want to do, then you have to invest the time and the energy to actually build upon that. And that means if you're already involved in some other work, you have to invest your free time to be able to really build upon this and get into those activities and those learnings and those skill building exercises and those programs which will help you transition into this. And this is something very valuable. So thank you, Shipra, for sharing this.
Right. No, in fact, Shefali, also, I think one very essential part of it, and I think that's where this discussion would become more robust, is the fact that what is it then can each one of us as professionals, as HR professionals do? How can we ensure that we are enabling returning mothers? In fact, I don't even want to label it as mothers, returning people, anybody.
Professionals, absolutely.
Returning professionals, what is it that the corporates can do? Because let's face it, it is a time when it's not always very easy for people to come back after a break. There are always going to be the questions. Does she or he have the time? Will they be able to do justice to this role? There is a lot of competition. Is it okay to have this person in? There has been a break. See, these are questions we hear all the time. And these are very difficult questions for anybody who comes after a break of whether it's 1 year or 2 years or even more, that will I be accepted at the same level? Will I be accepted at the same position? Will I be given the same kind of roles and responsibilities that I had earlier? And I think these are tough situations, and this is where each one of us can really make an impact on the ecosystem. There are going to be people in pockets who could be doing a lot of work, who might be engaging as supervisors and as bosses, and who must be really welcoming people who come back after sabbatical. But as an industry, as a community, as an ethos, can we really make that difference? And I think the way corporates welcome returning professionals, I think that's an extremely important part that, Shefali, I really think I would really want us to talk about in the segment now. And yeah.
Absolutely. I think, Shipra, this is, the entire, this exercise and, the forums audience, the message that we are trying to give to everyone is that there are live examples of people who are dedicated and who want to, have fulfilling careers. And the reason that things, take a side turn is because it's not just women, but men too, who experience extreme personal circumstances, the need to have flexible schedules, aging parents, sickness in the family, relocations. I know of professionals who invested a huge part of their career to come to a point where they realize that they want to actually mobilize towards a different cause, towards a more humane, just social movement. So the idea is that everybody at some stage in their life is affected by a deep personal cause. And for the corporate environment, if they can provide more and more encouraging avenues and opportunities for such returning professionals to embrace their life back at work, that would be a great step forward. So I think this entire talk today is about highlighting the issue, which all of know has been there, but it's also about showcasing that people make the change and people make the transition. Hence, people who are stuck right now, it's a call out to them too, that you can do it. It is possible the world over. And I'll just give you a very small example from a TV show that I saw yesterday, wherein a man in his 50s, after spending 20 years in operations, decided that he wanted to switch careers and wanted to become a traveling nurse. And the reason he said he wanted to become a nurse on call and be able to travel across different locations was because he had seen the plight of his father. And he was so moved by that, that he actually changed his entire lifestyle to suit, the calling that he had at that stage in his life. So men, women, everybody go through this, and it's a beautiful event today to encourage the talk and encourage the opportunity for such cases to be heard, recognized, and encouraged.
Absolutely. It's so well said, Shefali. I think I completely agree with what you're saying. And just to add to it, the fact remains that we're all leaders, we're at leadership positions for our own teams. We have always understood their perspective, the empathize part of it. So why not give that kind of scenario to people, to returning professionals also? And I think, for example, this pandemic, it has told us the very fact that we are right now doing a session virtually. 6 months back, even though we knew about virtual platforms, but other than the meetings that we would do with our overseas offices, I don't think we ever indulged in anything beyond that. Yes. So the very fact that we have got accustomed to it, we have embraced this change and gone virtual, I think a lot of avenues also come forward for returning professionals at this point of time. And as HR people, we have to question ourselves and see how can we inculcate entrepreneurship within our setup, within our framework. Can we be like the startup mode? You know what I mean? Like, for example, can there be part-time projects that we can give to returning professionals? Can there be theme-based projects that can be given to them? Just so that, we know that they took a break because of something else. And now they want to return. There is going to be a division of time. Why not let them do it in a phased out manner? Rather than telling them, you want to return, come full time. Now, that can be daunting. That can be difficult. So if we give it to them in a phased out manner, not only do we honestly, get their trust and loyalty, but trust me, and I have seen it not just in my own case, but in a lot of other examples, the return on investment on a returning professional, just by empathizing with them and understanding their situation and then having a plan around it, can have much, much higher returns than in an otherwise situation, because they want to prove themselves. They have the passion to return, to prove that what I had left, I can still return and do it. And that is something that as corporates, as leaders, we all need to encash, which is very critically important.
Yes. Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm so glad that you brought this up. Thank you.
So, Pali, there's one thing that I want to ask you now, and which is very important also, because a lot of times at the end of it, there is a lot of pressure, there is a lot of competition, and people are sometimes a little lost. What should I do? Is this the right time for me to return? Is this the right phase for me to return? Will I be accepted? And for more than one, people also feel very lost. Is there somebody who can guide me? Well, you do have your stakeholders in terms of your family and everybody else, but you also need a little bit of a professional approach. Can somebody guide me and tell me how is it that I can move back into a career, but in a very planned, in a very sorted manner? And I think that's where the whole definition of coaches gets very, very important, which is what you're doing. What are the kind of examples that you have practically seen, Shefali, in such cases?
Okay. So, Shipra, great question. And I'm just going to, before I answer this, I just want to tell you a little bit about the process of career transition. And I feel that, you know, it's good to know that we are, you know, when we think about making a change in our lives, things don't really move as we plan. Hence, what I have seen from my own experiences, that career transition is more of a test and learn model of change. It is not linear, it is circular, and it's iterative. That means that every time we progress by taking a few steps, we incorporating the learning from that particular experience back into our, you know, aspirations for change, and then feeding it back and moving on. So hence, it's very important for us to recognize that this whole idea of career transition is not something which will happen overnight. It takes, you know, in a lot of cases, it takes 2 to 3 years for people to find their bearings in the career of their choice. And during this time, what they're doing is they are actually testing out a lot of different scenarios, a lot of different possibilities. They're building their skills in those different areas. And then they're trying to assess how they're going to shift from their existing, you know, career plateaued or career dilemmas into these new careers without, you know, without changing, you know, the other aspects of their life. So if you are looking at, you know, somebody who has an aspiration to build, let's say, a leisure resort up in the hills, now the person would have their responsibilities, the person would have their financial, their family, their kids' schooling to take care of. Now, in order for that person to really, you know, gently roll into this change, it will take some time. It will take a series of mini test experiments, during which the family, the financial situation, everything will have to be, you know, nurtured further to be built stronger. So one of the very valuable, you know, parts of this career transition is that one has to be ready to explore. One has to keep the other parts of their life, try and keep them, you know, constant and stable and stand on firm ground, at least for you to make the evolution into the next identity that you want for yourself. And this is something which I think I want to share with all of you as part of my learning from all the professionals that I have interviewed. And we have realized that it is the impatience which can creep in for you to be able to want something, yet not have the patience and the persistence to see it through. And it is possible. I mean, you see world over, you know, there are people who move on from corporate careers to you know, famous actors. They move on from very, you know, stable jobs to being, you know, change makers of the world. And all these possibilities are there for us to explore. We just need to have the passion and the focus to be able to stay steady. And you know, really look at how we're going to make that change possible.
Absolutely. So true. In fact, if I could just very quickly sum up, and then Ankita, you could maybe direct the questions to us.
Yes.
I think, Shefali, what you've said is, you know, just beautifully kind of just sums up the entire thing very well. very important to really be able to assess yourself, you know, and again, passion, you know, passion is not like a halo that comes one fine morning, you know, that, all right, passion has dawned on me and I'm going to make a change. I think it comes over time. It comes with experience. It comes with skill set, as we just discussed. It comes with a thorough research and study about the area that you want to get into. And once you realize that all of it is there, discipline, time management, also taking your stakeholders along with you, which is very important, which could be your family, the work that you are doing. If it's a transition within a corporate, then stakeholders in the corporate world, your personal world. I think all of these are very important. But one thing which really is the most important, and this is something that I'm saying with my own experience, you have decided that I want to make a change. If you have decided that you want to transition to do something different, just do it. I think everything else follows. It's only when we are not sure, when our own boat is rickety, that's when the issues come in. If you're sure, then just move ahead. And I think that is a lot to do with the way your success comes in the future.
Absolutely, Shipra. And I think just to kind of, do a little summation from my side, and there are lots of aspects of this, this journey, which we can cover at later stages. But as a coach, I would like to just suggest that once you understand, your own interest areas and your own need to change, you have to honor the strengths that you have. You have to respect the skills that you have built, and you have to base your next steps on the skills and the strengths and the competencies that you have, and you have to commit to a course of action. Once you commit to a course of action, you see the results, you let the world know, and then, the change, you yourselves will be the triggers of change that you want in your life.
Absolutely. Thank you. Ankita, you want to take it on from here?
Yeah, so it was extremely engaging and inspiring listening from two wonderful ladies, and the comments are floating from all the participants. Everyone, this is the message to all the participants. You can now ask your questions and raise your queries. Before we get into the questions, I have something very particular in mind to ask, and I believe that's on behalf of the entire HR fraternity. Like, in today's era, there is a myth or a reality, whatever it is. It's getting difficult for women to come back even after age of 35. That is something which I am getting to hear from all around. Now, coming back from a sabbatical, as we are saying, is it's a kind of a challenge, or there are different kinds of barriers that they are facing it, be it a work-related or a social barrier, or how it is. Now, as you said, that it's a complete process, and they have to be in the stage of procuring knowledge about what they wanted to. And Shefali added to that, that this cannot be a one day that you wake up and all of a sudden passion comes in and you start building off it. So when I plan, or when someone plans that, yes, I am taking a break for such a period, or I am going to take break from my regular work, what are the probably 2-3 key things that they need to keep on mind, and that they need to keep on working on to be engaged or attached with the industry, so that when they come back, they are not being, taken as in something which is obsolete. So that is something, if you can just highlight a little and give us some 2-3 key points, that would be wonderful. So that's my submission to Shipra. And to Shefali, my request would be, like, as you are a life coach, individual coaching is something, yes, already Shipra triggered that thing, and you have already told us that wonderfully. Also, if you can just tell us something like being HR leaders, what is that as an organization, something that we can work on, maybe just 1 or 2 things if we can work on, which already can bring in a bigger change in this entire mindset of taking people into work.
Okay.
So, Shipra, why don't you?
First question. All right. Ankita, I think that was a beautiful question. It just makes, while you were asking that question, I almost felt as if it was a personal question you asked me, because I did go through the entire gamut of things that you just mentioned. You know, there is a time, and I'll very quickly touch upon this, is, you know, you're so used to having a career. For a long, long time, I was used to earning and having a career, taking flights, traveling, staying in hotels. This is whole high that it gives you. And then you decided to take a break, all happily. There's nobody who's forced you. You decide to take a break for whatever reasons. And you know, that first time when you realize that you have to, when I went and asked my husband, I need money. So he also looked at me very quizzingly, money for what? I said, no, I need to pay salaries to everybody. I need money because grocery needs to come. And he also looked at me. I thought to myself, because I had not asked money from everybody. The last time I must have asked money from my father was when I was studying. So there had been a long time when I was an independent person. I had the freedom to do what I wanted to do. And now suddenly there was a different arena that I was handling. You know, there were children, there was the house, there was this whole thing. And you're right, there is not once, but many times when you feel, what if I get left behind? What if I don't know what's happening? You know, HR is moving. There would be times when I would hear my husband, we're in the same fraternity, where he would be talking to somebody and I'll be like, oh my God, this is a new term. I didn't know about this. And it can be very frustrating. So 2-3 things that really helped me was, one, keep reading. Keep reading. I know you just have to find times. At the end of the day, I know there is lots to do when you've made that transition to something else and taken a break from your career. But trust me, 24 hours can be a long time. And you can always find that time. Keep reading. Keep finding out what's happening in your line, in the line that you have left behind for some time. And it's temporarily that you've left. Keep reading, keep engaging with people, which could be your peers from your company, your batchmates from your education, anybody that you feel who would help you to stay a bridge of what is happening. That I think is extremely, extremely important, just so that you know that I'm aware of what's happening. And the day that you really make a comeback would not be so much of a dinosaurian task, because you've kept abreast with everything, which I think is extremely important. Studying, educating, if you can do it, why not? Do your online courses. I think it really helps. You've been in that thing, you've worked, so you can study. Do online courses, whatever you can do which helps you stay a little tuned to what you left behind. And just one thing, I heard it yesterday somewhere, it's not a full stop. How soon you convert that full stop into comma, that's in your hands.
Beautiful.
Shefali.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think I am just urging to answer the questions that you asked, Ankita. It's just so delightful to be able to literally, look at this issue, which has been bothering so many people across, across the globe. So my suggestions on how, why you should not have that fear creeping in if you're on a sabbatical. As a life coach, I would want to tell you that, when you go out and you do, you have other experiences, whether you're networking with other women who are doing different, who are doing different jobs, whether you are going out on a play date and arranging, meeting other mothers who are also, who are also on sabbatical. You have enough time at your hand to be curious and to be inquisitive about what other people are doing, what are the changes which are happening in and around, your domain of interest. It could be related to culinary, it could be related to finance, it could be related to travel, it could be any interest areas that you want to develop further in your career change journey, or it could be just building upon what you have left. And, all over the world, networking is such a widely recognized tool for us to feel connected. And, when you meet people who inspire you, why is it that, I wrote Shipra's story? I mean, I meet people all the time and I interview a lot of people. The reason I brought forth Shipra's stories because it's an inspiration. And every time you meet a person who gives you that inspiration, who gives you that energy, you want to build upon it. And that's one very vital tool which I would urge all the people who are on a sabbatical. Please invest time to get to know the people around you. It is not just your family, it is your friends, your business network, your school groups, and everybody that you interact with will have something from which you can get inspired. And I think as a life coach, that's what I would urge you. The next part of, I think, the question which Ankita asked so beautifully, that, what can companies do? My very simple request to all companies is that, when women or people or all professionals are on sabbatical, they're urging to do something in that 3 to 4 hours of constructive time that they have. What if there are these projects and opportunities which are carved out and which are displayed and which are advertised and posted on company websites, that we have these short 1 month, 2 month, 3 month projects, and anybody who has a certain level and experience can just jump in and work on this remotely. Believe me, there will be so much interest. It's just that when you're on a sabbatical, you really wish that you get to see these opportunities, and unfortunately a lot of our portals don't put it on the same eye-catching level as the others. So hence if these kind of small projects are carved out, and the departmental and functional heads take it upon themselves to really showcase these as examples of sabbatical returning professionals coming in and contributing, it can just make a huge difference to the talent which is still which is not really being used. So that's just one of many suggestions, and I am pretty sure that if we throw this question to the general forum across Facebook, across women networks, across so many associations, I'm sure you will get thousands of suggestions.
Thank you so much. I think to begin with, that one suggestion is going to do wonders. And thank you, Shipra, for wonderfully articulating that. That's very important, that keep reading. We need to get ourselves updated every time. And thank you, Shefali, for articulating my question and answering it so wonderfully. We have one question from Namita Agarwal stating that in case of career transition, your past experience is likely to be discounted greatly and you may be offered a junior position. How do you deal with the same? I think something very common.
So, Namita, my answer to you is, if you are confident about your past experience, why would you let somebody else think of it differently? If you believe that what you have done in your past experience is valuable and you can build upon it, then you can convey it. And when you convey it and you bring that conviction, I'm sure it will work wonders. So do not let the fear of not being at the same level as others let you step back from exploring an opportunity. Think of it, you have the choice of exploring 10 opportunities or stepping back and feeling the lack of not being granted the same position. Which would you choose? You would rather choose taking the opportunity and letting your talents and your past experience shine through. So sometimes your work and your what you have built upon, you have to rely on that, and you have to bring that confidence to your work, and it will work magic. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'll very quickly add to that, Shefali, and I think that's again bringing my experience in it. years of corporate experience, no idea other than the fact that I enjoyed writing what journalism is all about. And when I took up this role of a journalist and I joined, I would ask the most innate questions, because here there was this team around me which had done masters in journalism. They had done mass communications. They came from the best of the institutes in the country. And they thought, oh, she doesn't even understand anything. She doesn't even know what ground check is. She doesn't even know, the other aspects to it. But again, something that really helped me, and I think that's exactly what Shefali was saying, nobody can discount the experience that you've built up. So my corporate experience, the pressure handling that corporate HR had taught me, the discipline of work that HR had taught me, how to handle processes and ensure that people work in a process-oriented framework. These are certain things that nobody could take from me. And when I brought these on the table and I ensured that the other things, in that situation could be bucketed and made better because of my process experience, that's when we could marry the two together. And that is something that I've had my journalism fraternity tell me on many occasions, that we're so glad that you get that corporate experience, because that is helping us. We know what to do outside. And I think that's exactly what Shefali said. Don't discount, don't undermine yourself, that my previous experience is not going to matter. You don't know how it's going to matter. Just leverage it. Ensure that others and you are leveraging it.
The word that Shipra has used, leveraging your career capital, that is a very important part of this career transition. And I'm so glad it has come out through the question. Please leverage your strengths, honor your strengths. Don't let anybody make you think otherwise. Otherwise, we are all learning. At the stage that we are in, Shipra and I, we are also learning. So we all have so much more to accomplish. Why would you set yourself back at the thought that, you are not at par with somebody? What you're doing is very beautiful. The way you will contribute once you come back will again be very beautiful. So value that and believe in yourself.
Great, thank you so much. I have a very interesting question actually. I have this question from Mr. Arun Kumar Gupta, and he said that women can take career gap and tell that it's due to family reason, but men cannot say, an organization cannot accept that. So what is your advice to men employees? I believe that one day we'll be moving ahead from this men, women, and we'll treat only one category of professional. So over to you.
Yes, I think that's the key to it. And all of us who are here right now are the people who are going to be making that difference, are the ones who are going to be changing that definition that it's only women who can do it and not men. No. When we came out of our MBA institutes, for example, that time during placements, they didn't decide that this is a girl or a boy. What if tomorrow she gets married? At that point of time, they were judging us for what we are, of how good or bad we are. And I think that's what we have to take on. I think for the sound of just giving a little weightage to women here, they take that upon themselves, that we will take care of another aspect of our life also. And if they can do it, of taking that break and coming back, why not men? It is the time to have a balance, a fine balance. And I think we have come a long way. Men have completely changed, whether it's at home, whether it's taking care of responsibilities as equal partners with their wives, with their families, to doing the same in the corporate world. I think there has been a lot of change, and it's in the right direction. I think each one of us, when a man, if let's say I'm in a position and a man, I've just had a colleague of mine who's taken a sabbatical. When they come and say, I'm taking a sabbatical, give them that confidence that they're doing the right thing, they're doing it for a reason, and it's okay. It's okay to go and do it. It's great to go and do it. And when they come back, they're only going to be a notch higher, not a notch lower. So I think we have to just change the way we think. And I think we're already there. We're already there in a massive manner. Shefali.
I think I don't have anything else to add other than telling Mr. Arun that genuinely, there are much bigger opportunities out there. And if you let the idea that you have taken a gap year, let it hold you back, it's not worth it. You have so much more that you need to do or you aspire to do. Would you let the prospect of not being given due consideration because of gap year, would you let it impede you on your next part of your career? Why would you do that? It is the learning is as much for women as for men, that we all are living in a life which is so unpredictable. This entire time which has come upon us, nobody knew that this is how things are going to change, and there are industries and companies which are evolving at such a different pace because of all this change. There are jobs which are collapsing, there are technologies which are becoming obsolete. And there is so much change in the world. We have to be more resilient to accept whatever is going through and build our next journey, assuming that challenges are going to be part of our life. And we will not let the thought of a gap year or any other setback get in the way of achieving what's next in store for us. So Mr. Arun, you do not need to worry. As long as you have the conviction, you will, move with great stride.
Thank you. I believe that answers and satisfies Mr. Arun's question. Well, there's a lot of common question coming in. One common question, Shipra, when can we have your book launch?
Very, very soon. Very soon. I think another, because of the pandemic, it got delayed a bit. But I think in about max to max a month or two, it should be out. And very quickly, just now that you brought up that topic, it is coming a lot from my own experiences about a returning professional, about the whole gamut of emotional journey that we go. It's over a period of 8 years from the time the protagonist decides to leave a career, like it happened in my case, the whole journey of how you're accumulating your own knowledge, how you're ensuring that you're not, regressing, but progressing even during a sabbatical, to how to figure out that I want to transition back into a career, but a little differently, and how then do you engage with your different stakeholders, which is your family, your children, your husband, the career line, everybody, your networking, how to be able to leverage all of that into coming back with the satisfaction that it doesn't matter if I was on a sabbatical, I'm back to where I left.
Great.
So yeah.
So there are till the time we are getting another question from the participant, I would take the opportunity to ask something which is in my mind. So though there is no age to professionals, but then still I would refer as professional and not man or woman, people who are at our age. Now, nowadays, the kids who are starting their career, the kind of guidance that they have, the kind of platforms that is there to assist them, that what they are good at and what they should actually choose as their career path. I believe that at our time when we started, it was not there. Now, when someone take a break, it's a kind of a new beginning. Like Shipra, you did a transition. You were into some another genre of work, and you have now something completely new. Probably you identified that is one hidden skill, that is one love for that particular profession, which you are definitely skilled on and you can build up on. So this break can one wonderful opportunity for people who are taking this break to identify the new talent or to identify something new which probably they can build up on. So would love to hear from both of you on your views that how they can actually cultivate that new me in their self and build up on that and do something on that.
Right. Ankita, in fact, I think we're in a lovely time right now. There are just so many avenues. There is so much that people can, dabble their fingers in. The canvas is too huge. There are enough paints. When we passed out, or, if I talk about 20 years back, it was the same colors. There were the 7 colors. All right, you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. The combinations were not there, and today it's all there. So yes, if there is a time in your life when you do feel the need that I think I want to try something else, you want to do it, but if you're unsure of what, first of all, zero down to at least those 2 or 3 things that you feel you want to do it. Again, that will come from within. That will come of your own assessment of yourself. What is it that I want to do? As I said, I can't just suddenly sit up and say, well, there's no harm in it also, that I want to be a pilot. Somebody else can be. I have to tell myself, whatever I am thinking to be my transition point, is that realistically possible? So have realistic goals. That's very, very important, because when you have realistic goals in front of you, you will be able to get know-how about them. You will be able to find out about them in a much more planned manner, and the chances of seeing them successfully interpret into the transition that you wanted to make are going to be very high. So being realistic, and then going out and getting enough information about it, doing your research, doing your work, talking to people who are in that particular arena, that helps you to take a lot of decisions, either to go ahead or to stay put where you are, whichever way. But that, I think, is extremely important. Shefali, you want to add something?
No, I think it's perfect.
I hope that answered, Ankita. I don't know, but I hope that answered.
Yeah, it seemed like I just heard a EQ practitioner rightly, wherein putting the emotion and logic together. Exactly what you said, it's wonderfully articulated, Shipra, and I think that's how we need to have realistic goals and move ahead with that. Any last question from the participants? Because if it goes on, it will go on like this, I'm sure. Okay, so I have one question from, it's from Kanchan Kulkarni. The question is, it's for Shipra. Can you please tell us if you took separate training for the transition of field? Did you do any certification?
Well, yes, I did. And I think that's important. Not something that I did before I got into this line, but as I got into this line, I realized that in order for me, which is what I've been talking about all this while, in order for me to be able to make my position, to be able to carve that position for myself, it is very important for me to come up the curve to where the people are. They were already here in terms of journalism. I was maybe, I won't say -10, I would say maybe I was at -9. If they were at 10, I was at 9. So in order to come up that notch, it is very important that I do anything that I can which helps. And yes, I did take up trainings. I did get into a lot of know-how sessions with people who came into this industry, who know about it. And that only equipped me. So that tomorrow, when you are in the midst of 5 or 10 people who know about it, you can look forward.
I think some technical glitch.
Once I will just. You can unmute yourself.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So I think, yes, that's very important. If you, why not? And in today's times, there's just so much available. It might not be a physical session. It's there virtually. It could be a one day. There's just so much out there, Google search, and it's all there. So do equip yourself, get the information, do trainings. The more you add on, it's only creating a more aware you. And there's no harm to it. It only helps you to become more confident about your decision, become more confident when you are talking to the people who are already stalwarts in that arena. So why not? And it definitely helps.
Yes.
Extra knowledge always helps. Ankita, you're on mute.
Yeah. Am I audible now?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
That's an over-enthusiast approach. So I haven't even noticed that I'm muted. Okay. So thank you so much. And I believe like there is a time constraint and we can't take any more questions. But then this is to all the participants that we have our mail ID, which is mentioned into all our pages. Please do write back if you have any queries, and we make sure that we send your questions to our speakers and will revert back to your IDs. Thank you so much once again, Shipra and Shefali, for for such an enriching conversation. We thoroughly enjoyed actually, and it felt like that we all are actually sitting over coffee and chatting on this topic. And it has been so wonderfully in simple words articulated that it's basically it's easy to digest. We haven't used any big things, which is something impossible to achieve. So thank you once again, and on behalf of the entire HRFI group, our request would be that be with us, because there's a lot more planned, and Rausha keep on giving us ideas, and we just keep on following his path, which we build it out for us. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Ankita. Thank you, Shipra. Thank you, Shefali. It was really wonderful. I just felt it should continue for another 1 hour. It's really interesting. It's a really wonderful journey which Shipra has gone through. So really we can have one more session. So many participants they have written we should have such session once again. We will keep in mind we will have one more session, maybe a couple of months time. Thank you very
much. It is I mean I'm so glad, and I'm sure Shefali would agree with me. I think the very fact that we are here talking about returning professionals with